Okay, so we have an iPad Pro here. iPad model A1674. It's coming from Sergi, and the country is Latvia. Latvia. Let's read the description of what Sergi wrote. The original battery started swelling and pressing out the display, causing the uneven backlight. Besides, it doesn't keep its charge. The iPad was turning off at about 50%. I brought it to a local workshop. They changed the battery, but the iPad began restarting every other minute or so. I didn't allow them to solder anything, being afraid, as you say, they might put Hiroshima bombs all over the place. Luckily, I managed to wipe it clean somehow, and now it doesn't have any password or accounts. But notice the fingerprint sensor is not working anymore. Please repair my iPad if possible, and make a repairing video if it's also possible. We are making a repair video on it. So it's your lucky day, Sergi, and I hope that we can help you out with the problem. The first thing we did was we powered the iPad on, and we wanted to see that the iPad restarts, and it's true. It restarts every minute or so. You turn it on, it comes on. After a minute or so, it restarts. Now on the iPad Pro 9.7, when the iPad restarts after a battery has been changed, it gives us a clear indication that the problem may be the battery connector. I asked Big Boss to remove the board so we can inspect the battery connector, and let's go ahead and take a look at it and see if we have a problem with the battery connector. And I do see a problem. We do see bent battery pins on the connector. Now this may look okay to you, but any slight variation in the angle of the pin may cause the connector not to make a connection with the battery. So we do see two affected pins here, and this one is actually going all the way down. Look at this. It should not be like that. It should be like this, where my tweezer tip will hit that pin when I move back and forth, but it's not the case here. Look at this. Nothing. So the pin is not making a connection with the battery, and that's most likely what the problem is. And Big Boss also noticed that the top here is loose. Where is it? He said that he pressed it down. Look, this one. Yeah. That's only the connector cover, but this could be a clear indication that a lot of pressure was put onto that connector. We're going to start by removing this connector. In the last two videos, we worked on the iPad Pro 10.5 with a restarting issue, but that was due to loose or broken coils. For this one, since the battery was tampered with, it immediately led me to the battery connector, and I was right. We have bent pins on this connector. So we're going to have to remove this thin layer here. Okay, so that's enough. We're going to apply low melt solder now. And you should know what low melt solder is by now if you've been following the channel. Low melt solder mixes along with unleaded to lower the melting temperature of the solder, so we can easily heat up and remove this connector. This is the Amtech 559 Flux, and we are currently out of stock on the Flux since Saturday, the last 2 days. We have a new shipment coming in later this week or anytime before April 20th, and the shipment is coming directly from Amtech, so we're going to have the freshest Flux in the market. They're making it and they're shipping it over to us. You're not going to find anything fresher. So for those calling, asking about the Flux, we should have the shipment by next week. Keep checking the website. We called Amtech last week to place the order, but since Amtech, they make the Flux specifically for us, they make it fresh. It takes about 2 weeks before they make the product and they ship it to us. So when we get the Flux, the make date on the Flux should be somewhere around maybe April 10. And that's why everybody purchases Amtech Flux from us, because we always have the freshest Flux in the market. We applied low melt solder on all those pads. Let's go over them quick. And now what we're going to do is apply a little bit of hot air on the connector. and we should be able to push that connector down. But right now we have to be careful because there's a wire here. That's it. The connector is out, as you can see. Now we're gonna clean solder using our premium wick. And by the way, our premium wick got a new packaging, and it looks something like this. Before we had the braid wrapped on a plastic core, but now we have new packaging for that braid. So we have the board mounted here, and whatever you see me using here, you can purchase off our site. The board holder, low melt solder, Flux, the braid, tweezers, the cleaning brush, all that stuff can be purchased off our site. And we almost always ship out orders same day. For all of you who have already purchased from us, you know that all orders are dispatched same day. Unless you order later in the day, then it doesn't go out until the next day. Okay, so that's the magic of the premium braid. The job gets done fast. Just want to make sure all the holes are clean. Okay, very good. We're gonna solder the new connector and give it to Big Boss to reassemble and test. And I'm almost 99.9% sure this will fix our issue, unless there's something else wrong with the tablet. I mean, before, customer said that the tablet used to charge up to 50%, so he did not have a restarting issue. The restarting issue only happened after battery replacement. So it's a good thing the shop was not allowed to do any solder work on this tablet. I'm gonna release the board from the board holder. And what we have to do now is put the connector here, just like that. And I'm gonna flip the board and press it down on the bench. I'm gonna press it like this while I solder to make sure that the connector is being pressed all the way in. Go under the microscope and start soldering. The board is being pressed down and the connector is sandwiched between the board and the bench. Yeah, I just want to secure that connector in place, and then I'll go over the soldering one more time. But I just want to make sure the connector is holding. Okay. So now we're going to apply some flux. And we're going to apply more solder. And finally this one here, and the job is done. Beautiful. Beautiful. And we're gonna clean one more time in a downward motion. We do not want to disturb the pins. All right, I'm gonna give this to Big Boss to reassemble and test, and I'll be back. Big Boss reassembled the tablet right there, and customer did mention that he wiped the tablet clean, so we should be able to set it up and test it. Usually the tablet restarts every minute or so, so I'm gonna try to set it up right now, and in the process we're gonna see if the tablet will restart or not. Problem with Touch ID. The fingerprint is not working. Failed. But we already know that. Set up later. And password. We're not going to put any password on there. Do not transfer any apps. And we're going to do don't have an Apple ID. Set up later in settings. Are you sure? They keep asking you, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Do not use. I'm 100% sure. And agree. Okay. Siri, I do not want to use Siri now. And set up later in settings. Don't share information. And let's choose the dark theme. Continue. Okay. So I think I'm going to go to Google. We're going to put a stopwatch. The reason I use a stopwatch is because if the tablet restarts, the stopwatch is going to stop. So let's search for stopwatch right there and start. Okay. So far we've been using it for maybe 2-3 minutes. It did not restart. I'm going to keep it on for maybe 20-30 minutes and I'll be back to finish the video. It's been running for 57 minutes. 57 minutes. Okay. See if I can zoom in a bit. All right. So the problem is fixed. Problem is fixed. And we have a video for you. So what more could anybody ask for? I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions and we'll do something else in the next video.